Hello, everyone who is joining us today. Welcome to the Let's Do It World and Break Free from Plastic webinar about conducting brand audits. We're happy to have you here. This session is also being broadcast live on YouTube and will be recorded. So hello, everyone who is joining us today. Sorry about that. That was a technical glitch. And it's very nice to see you all here. So I'll go just briefly over today's rules about making this work. So I ask please everyone to keep your microphones off until the very last part of our webinar when we open microphones for any networking. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the chat or wait with it until the question and answers time at the end. Also, please do introduce yourself in the chat section. And let me introduce to you today, we have here Sybil Bullock she's the Global Brand Audit Coordinator from Break Free from Plastic. And today she'll be walking us through several different sessions. We have the brand audit training coming up, which is a presentation about the components, about how to conduct a brand audit. And then we will also be hearing from some of the Let's Do It World leaders who have actually conducted brand audits before, and they will be sharing their best practices and experience of doing them. And then at the end, we will open the floor to networking for any questions, any discussion, and also for any possibilities of collaboration. So Sybil, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. It's lovely to be here and lovely to be with the wonderful Let's Do It World family virtually. I had the huge pleasure of meeting a lot of you in person back in the before times, right before in early 2020. And it's really nice to be back with you. And yeah, looking forward to walking you through kind of everything you need to know to get involved in our global brand audit campaign. I'll keep my presentation kind of short and sweet to make sure we have plenty of time for hearing from the expertise of the Let's Do It World leaders themselves. You have amazing brand audit experts in your network. So I want to give the floor to them and have some time at the end for questions and discussion and find spaces for collaboration, like Ingrid said. So without further ado, I will share my screen. And I apologize in advance if we have any technical issues. I am not working in my usual place, but I think you can all see my screen. Can I have a thumbs up if it looks okay? Yes? Okay, thank you. Thanks, Ingrid, for the enthusiastic thumbs up. Okay, so like Ingrid said, first up, we'll go over brand audits. So I've broken it down into the essential sections. So we'll start off with where did brand audits come from? Why do we do this? And then what's our plan for 2021? What resources are available? Whoever is not on mute, it sounds like you're in a very fun place, but maybe go on mute if you can. And then finally, how to get started, okay? And if you have any questions that come up, please feel free to use the chat and we will have plenty of time to go over your questions. So first up, I just need to introduce the movement behind the brand audit campaign. Maybe you've heard about it. It's the Break Free from Plastic Global Movement. I think some of you here might already be a part of this movement. And if you're not familiar, essentially what Break Free from Plastic works to do is end plastic pollution for good. So as you all are experts in the world of organizing big cleanups, drop in the chat, what do you often find as the biggest amount of waste material in your cleanups? I'm just curious. Anecdotally, I hear it's usually plastic trash. more so than other materials. So yeah, looking forward to seeing your comments in the chat about that. But it certainly is a huge global problem, but thankfully we have a huge global network of amazing organizers, activists, associations, NGOs all over the world, collaborating on joint campaigns that really address tackling plastic waste across the whole life cycle. So from the very beginning of the plastic waste life cycle, from the extraction of the raw materials, which hopefully you know this, is fossil fuels. 99% of plastic is made from fossil fuels. And then we work on plastics all the way to the end at the level of waste, which is where you all tend to come into contact with plastic in your cleanups. So when the Break Free from Plastic movement was founded, its members essentially came together and came up with this concept of the brand audit, which, on to the next slide, is essentially a citizen science initiative that involves counting and documenting the brands that are found on plastic waste collected at a cleanup in order to identify the companies responsible for plastic pollution. And a brand audit is essentially made up of 4 main steps. So number 1, the one that you're all experts in, is hosting a cleanup. And then the next step is collecting all of the plastics out of that amount of waste that you've collected. And then you'll want to sort it into the different types of plastic waste, record what you find, and finally submit your data digitally to be part of the Brand Audit's global annual report. Here are a few photos from our brand audits throughout the years. Type in the chat if you see any familiar faces. These are some of our brand audits in Ukraine, in South Africa, Brazil, and India. And hopefully you all recognize some of the familiar faces here. So you can see we've been doing brand audits for 3 years now. So we're entering our 4th year of this amazing global campaign that is really people powered by amazing change makers around the world, like you all in the Let's Do It World Network. You can see that the number of participating countries has only continued to grow over the last 3 years, even with the global pandemic. We've had thousands of volunteers and hundreds of brand audit events all over the world who have collectively so far recorded about 1 million pieces of plastic waste that are in our database now. What has remained consistent across the last 3 years, very interesting to note, is that the top 3 global plastic polluters we've seen have been Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Nestle. So will we see them as our top polluters again this year? Join us and we'll find out. It's really important to have as many people participating in as diverse places as possible, because our report and our data can only be as rich as the quality of the organizers and the quality of the data and the diversity of the data that we're able to collect. So especially if you're in a country that has not yet had a brand audit, really, really encourage you to get involved so that we can learn from what you're finding in your country. So why exactly do we do this funny thing of recording data on trash? Seems like a strange thing to do, but it's really, really important. So the main reasons, our main goals with this brand audit initiative is, number 1, to shift the narrative, or in other words, to change the story that we have been told about who is really responsible for the plastic pollution crisis. So if you're like me, maybe you grew up being told that if only we recycled better, we would solve our waste crisis. But unfortunately, we've been doing our very best in many places, and it's becoming increasingly evident with more research studies, more scientific analyses, and just more information on the issue, that industry, the ones who are actually producing the plastic waste in the first place, really hold a huge role in producing all of the plastic that continues to pollute our environment year after year. So by shifting the narrative, what we're really trying to do is, onto the second point, hold the companies accountable. So we want to shift the focus towards the companies that are producing the plastic in the first place to demand that they change the way they deliver their products to consumers that eliminates as much as possible their reliance on single-use plastics that are really clogging our environments, our waterways, with this unmanageable kind of waste that does not break down and contributes to all kinds of toxic impacts to our health and to our environment. And in doing so, we're really working to build a global movement as well. We've seen that the plastic pollution crisis impacts people from the very beginning of the life cycle, those living near fossil fuel extraction sites, to those living near production facilities, all the way to those, particularly in global South countries, that are receiving tons of plastic waste exported to their countries year after year. And so it's really by coming together that we can tell the full story of the plastic pollution crisis and come up with solutions that are inclusive and represent everyone impacted along this life cycle. And in doing these brand audits, what we do every year is analyze the data and then publish our annual brand audit report. If you haven't looked at it or seen it yet, really encourage you to check it out. You can find it on the Break Free from Plastic website. We've had 3 global reports so far. And essentially what we're revealing in these reports is who are the top polluters, sharing the stories of the people coming up with real solutions, and most importantly, sharing our demands to these corporate polluters, or the companies that are being found as polluting the most places around the world with the most plastic waste. So our campaign demands have been and continue to be that the corporate polluters reveal how much plastic they produce, reduce the total plastic footprint at the source, and redesign or reinvent their plastic packaging to be reusable or refillable. In other words, to shift away from the reliance on single-use plastic packaging in their business model. And this is one of my favorite photos from an awesome activist in the Philippines, Plastic Free Bohol, who just does a great job putting all of our campaign demands in one place. So what's our plan for 2021? We continue to live in very strange times. How are we going to continue to adjust the way we live and do our work in such a climate? Oh dear, looks like we just scrolled way far ahead. Sorry about that. I told you we might have some tech issues. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so here is our plan for 2021. So starting in July, we launched our 2021 Global Brand Audit project. Sorry, y'all. So what we're really encouraging everyone to consider doing is now through World Cleanup Day to consider organizing a brand audit. So this can be small, it can be big, it can be indoors, it can be outdoors, depending on the pandemic situation in your area. We have a coronavirus safety guide to help you make that decision. But all of the data is valuable, whether you do a small collection or a big collection, something at home or something outdoors. So really consider, what is your capacity? What are you able to do? And the deadline to submit the data is September 20th. So this is if you want your data to be part of our global brand audit report, which I very much hope you do, because our report can only be as good as the data we receive. So we need you for that part. And I know it sounds like a very close time between World Cleanup Day on the 18th and deadline on the 20th, but this is really because we don't have a lot of time before when we need to publish the report last week of October. And as many of you know, early November is the big COP26 climate conference. And so we're really hoping to use this opportunity to publish our brand audit report just before the COP26 conference so that your stories and the data that we find can be highlighted during this big global climate conference. And as you know, plastic is really part of the climate change crisis. And so it's really important that we share those stories before an audience that can leverage important decision-making at this conference. So I'm so sorry. I don't know why the slides are just jumping all over the place. Okay. Anyway, so that was our timeline. And then our focus in this year's brand audit is really looking at the interconnections, the intersections between plastics, climate, fossil fuels, and social justice, with a particular emphasis on youth. So you can see here, we've got a youth activist holding a sign that says plastic pollution is a climate issue, because we've just been seeing year after year kind of focuses being more on the downstream impacts of plastic, but not enough on the upstream at the very, very source of the problem, which is the extraction of fossil fuels that are used to make plastic. And the climate crisis is growing ever more urgent as we continue to see just in the last few months. So we said this is really the time to be going as upstream as possible. And why the focus on youth? Well, it's very simple. They are going to be disproportionately burdened by the long-term impacts and consequences of both the climate crisis and the plastic pollution crisis in their lifetimes. And often because of their age, they are not included in the decision-making process that will impact their lifetime. So if you work with climate groups or youth groups, please consider joining, because we really want to put those voices on the forefront of our campaign this year. Okay, so what resources are available to you if you're considering getting involved in the brand audit campaign? So lots of things, lots of new things that are new this year. So first, we have a brand new website. I'll show you what it looks like, with pre-recorded tutorial videos that can walk you through, different components of what you'll need to do when you're organizing your brand audits. This page also has answers to frequently asked questions and options to sign up for informal office hours, to brainstorm, ask questions, get some one-on-one support in organizing your brand audit event. To access the training video website, you just need to sign up on our website. So I'll share the link in the chat. We also have a new social media toolkit with graphics and pre-written social media posts to help you spread the word about your brand audits. Again, with the focus of the messaging being on plastics, fossil fuel, climate change, social justice. We also hosted for our Breakthrough from Plastic Core members a masterclass where we really dove in deeper for those who were interested in publishing their own national brand audit reports. So if some of these topics are interesting for you, if you're curious to learn even more about how to do this, I'm happy to share the recordings on request to learn the essentials of how to analyze your own data, develop a social media campaign, learn the basics of graphic design, and also media and press, how to share your story and make sure you get news coverage so that people hear your story. Why are you doing these brand audits? Why this is important. So happy to share those on request. And last but not least, we have a brand audit campaigning guide, which is a new resource to help you strategize and develop a campaign plan if you want to take your brand audit to the next level and actually use your data to leverage longer term change in your community. And in this guide, we have all sorts of resources, including a letter template that you can use to share your brand audit data results with key decision makers in your community. So you can think about this as a very, very miniature brand audit report of your own. Essentially, we just want you to encourage you to share your data and share them with those who actually have the power in your community to listen to the demands for holding companies accountable and encouraging them to reduce their plastic production. So this is what the brand audit campaigning guide looks like. If I can just also share the link with you all. We have this guide available in English, French, and Spanish on the library page. So here is the link to that in the chat. Check it out. And of course, that letter template in those the letter template is available in those 3 languages as well. And let me just go back here for a moment. Yes, I want to show you what the training guide looks like. So here, once you sign up, this is what the training platform looks like. So we have background videos, more information, how to record the data, a practice brand audit activity if you want to practice in a virtual space before doing your full activity. This walks you through how to submit your data. And then if you're working with youth, we have a special presentation hosted by youth for youth. These are teenage organizers from the Heirs to Our Oceans network. And it's very fun. It's better than any training I've ever hosted. It's secret agent themed. So you pretend that you're a spy and it's very fun. So in order to access that, you need to sign up here. So anyway, we'll get to that in just a moment. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. One thing at a time. And as a final resource, perhaps you've heard of this film or you've seen it already, but this is our award-winning documentary, The Story of Plastic. It really tells the whole story of the plastic pollution crisis, and it features brand audits at the end of the film. So this is a really fun way to spread the word about why you're doing this to your community and get your volunteers excited to participate in your brand audit when they see the whole story and they see brand audits in this film, which I'm very excited to announce has just been nominated for an Emmy Award. So this is a huge deal. It's an excellent documentary, and it's being recognized at the international film level with an Emmy nomination. So you can check it out online. And there's also a miniature version that's 5 minutes on YouTube. If you look up Story of Plastic animated, it'll come up, and it's also on our training video site. So hopefully by now I've convinced you that this is really cool and you really want to get involved. So if that's the case, here's our final section before hearing from brand audit leaders in the Let's Do It World Network. How do I get started? So the first thing you want to do is sign up this is the bit.ly link, or what I'll do is I'll actually share the sign up link directly in the chat. So very simple to sign up. And when you sign up, you'll receive a welcome email with more information, and it'll take you to that training video page. So sign up today. Then once you've signed up, the essential steps is to read, review, and register. So you'll want to read through our toolkit. Our toolkit has everything you need to know. This is where you'll find the 10 steps of how to do your brand audits. And you'll also find the data card and visual guide that you'll use to record your data, available in, I believe, 16 different languages. And if you don't see your language, get in touch and maybe we can work together to translate it into even more languages. So check that out. Review that training website if you're someone who learns better from visual and audio. That's why we made it for you. So check that out. And then finally, when you're ready, please register your event. This is very important so we can keep track of how many events are taking place and where and when, and make sure we give you credit in the report. So make sure that you're registered. This is the toolkit page. You can see here on the left is the sign up button to get started. And here is where you register when you're ready. This part here is where you can find, it's 12 languages. It's our training video that's available in 16 languages. Anyway, here is where you find the data card and the visual guide where you record your data. Here is where you can find our social media guide, which has lots of visuals and pre-written posts. And you can see when you register your event, it'll pop up on this map so others can find you and join you if they are in your area. And then scroll down and you'll see those 10 steps that you need to be familiar with to organize your brand audit event. So just to wrap things up, our last part, as you can see here, once you have done your brand audit event and collected your data, we encourage you to, of course, take lots of photos and videos. That goes without saying, but you'll see in the social media guide, there's all sorts of pre-written posts, and anything that you post, please use the hashtag Brand Audit 2021 so we can follow and share and say thank you. So I know you're all experts at taking great photos. Let's Do It World coaches you all very well on that. So last but not least, the very final step of your brand audit, of course, is to submit your data. So I'll give you the shortened version here. We have 3 different options, but for the Let's Do It World Network leaders, I highly, highly encourage you to use the Excel template because you all organize very big events with lots of data. And so for that, you're going to want to use the Excel template. This one is best for large data sets. And the other benefits is that you retain your original data. You simply email us a copy. You can complete it in several sittings because you can work offline if you need to, and it doesn't require internet. You need internet to download it, but then you can work offline, which is very useful for some people. And I'll just show you very quickly what it looks like before turning it over to our next section. So on the toolkit website, you'll see submit your data, and then you'll see the 3 options. So I encourage you to use the Excel sheet option, which will look like this when you open it. This is an example pretending Hermione Granger from Harry Potter conducted a brand audit in the Forbidden Forest. Shout out to any Harry Potter fans in the crowd. So the first tab has some guidelines, some instructions on how to complete the template and send it in when you're ready to submit. The first section, the second tab, I should say, has the information about your event. So who was the leader, where it happened, when it happened, what type of audit was it, etc. And then the third tab, so again, this is a sample that's been completed, is where you would do the data entry for your data forms from your event. And the benefit with this one is it has some automated functions. So if we type in Fanta, for example, you'll see here that the parent company will automatically pop up. So that's very cool. And if you see that the parent company does not pop up automatically, you can add it in here. Usually this means this is a new brand that we haven't received yet, so it's not yet in our database. And then you go through and you'll see this is essentially just a digital version of the hard copy printable forms that you'll use to record by hand at your event. So these are the different categories. If you're a little overwhelmed by that, don't worry. There's a video that can show you more details about how to fill that out on that training website. But for the purpose of this webinar, we wanted to just make more time for networking and hearing from the expert leaders among this group. But if you have more questions about that, sign up and then you'll see a demonstration in more detail on our training website page. Okay. So as a final reminder, September 20th is the deadline to submit your data. I'm very sorry, it's not a lot of time after World Cleanup Day, but Again, if you are doing a huge event and you just can't record everything, it's okay to use a sample, a subset of your total. So you'll see more information about that in the training page. But I believe in you. We're an amazing group here, so I know you can do it. And then sometime the final week of October, we will be publishing our report. So that's it for me for now. Thank you very much. And now I'll turn it over to Ingrid to take us through our next section, where we'll hear from our wonderful brand audit leader experts in the Let's Do It World movement to share their tips and tricks.
Thank you, Sybil, very much for this very comprehensive and quick overview. But then again, it was super easy to understand as well, because you've really made it very simple for people to conduct brand audits. So looking forward to actually seeing many of you signing up for this year's brand audit campaign. But in the meantime, I would like to call upon Ana La Rocha, who is our Let's Do It world leader and who has several years of doing brand audit experience. So Ana, if you could please turn on your camera and your microphone, we would love to hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry, we have a day of no electricity here, so I'm on generator. The internet's a little unstable here. Okay, so thank you everyone for allowing me to join and talk a little bit about it. So I would like to talk a little bit about what we do here in Tanzania. We have been doing brand audits now for I think 3 years now, and we do it quite frequently. Actually, we do that during World Cleanup Day, and we also do many outside World Cleanup Day. We collect as many data as possible, and we ended up actually building the largest database on waste in Tanzania. Even like the Tanzanian Bureau of Statistics comes to us to get data on waste because of that. So I would recommend people doing brand audits just because it's a very useful tool for you to basically put your requests, when you want to get the government to change a policy, or you want to get your communities to basically change the way that they are consuming, or you want to put pressure on the producers, which is, I think, the most important portion of all of this. Like that gives you basically data and visuals to do so. I will share just a little bit, like it's a small piece of a presentation that I have that just shows a little bit about like the kind of visuals that you can get from the waste and branch audits. So you can see, for example, here, these are the teams doing waste and branch audits in different ways, in different events. We end up doing waste and branch audits even for like household waste. But focusing on the World Cleanup Day, you can get information, for example, like this, about who are the biggest producers in the country. And in the case of Tanzania, we actually have lots of local producers, you know, and then when we publish that, you get a lot of commotion inside the country. And that's super, super helpful for us, for advocacy. You can separate your data into local and foreign companies. You can think about the kinds of waste that you find in. You can separate based on the type of packaging if you want. You don't need to do all of that, but in case you want to, by having the data, you can. And you can also do visuals like this. So those are, for example, our top local producers, polluters, sorry, which are the producers as well. So those are the ones that are based in the country and end up contributing the most for all the waste that we find, especially the plastic waste, and also the foreign ones, you know. So those are just like a couple examples. And from our experience, what has been going on and what has been happening is that government started actually talking to us more about the data that we have and coming to us for information. We have been able to do a plastic bag ban in Tanzania. And that's not the only reason for it, but it's one of the contributors for it, like all these waste and brand audits. We have had people in our social media, in our group chats, in everything, being way more aware as well of the issue and understanding that we cannot solve this problem just by changing the way that we drink water. Like, we need to get the producers to also change the way that they are producing, and we need to have a holistic change in the system so that we stop extracting all this fossil fuel to produce things that we don't need and we don't want to have around. So it has been a very useful tool for us. We are going to do it again this year, and because of COVID, our plan is actually to do several small cleanups instead of doing one big one, so that we can have a very a wide range of data from different places in the country, even if we can't get a lot of people together in one place, so that we can then contribute to the Breakthrough from Plastic report. And we can also write our own report, which, as I said, like here, as we have more local producers, they contribute about, like, it's about 75% of all the waste that we find is from local producers. So our local report becomes very important on that, so that we can basically spread the word everywhere in Tanzania about it. Another thing that I wanted to say is just that we actually collect a lot of waste in Tanzania. We have very large amounts of waste. In each cleanup, even if we have, like, I don't know, 20 people and it's a small cleanup, we easily collect 150 full large bags of waste. And so we end up actually doing the audit in a sample of the waste and not in all the waste that we collect. And what that means is that you actually need to plan for it, because then you cannot have people segregating the waste during collection. You need to make sure that all your bags have the same composition, and that's a good representation of what is on the ground. Otherwise, your data becomes biased. So if anyone would like to talk about that, if anyone has large amounts of waste or is planning to do a very large cleanup, you can reach out anytime and we can talk. So I think that's it from me. I highly recommend the Waste and Brand Audits for sure.
Thank you very much, Anna. This is very enthusiastic. And now I'd like to call to talk about their experience, Noel Nyadano. He is the marketing manager for Let's Do It Togo. Noel, could you turn on your microphone and share your experience, please?
Yes, hello to everyone, and thank you, Ingrid, and thank you, Sibyl, for this opportunity to share my experience about brand audit. And at the beginning, each were as complementary activities where we just learn or hear from brand audit. We ask ourselves, what is it concretely? And as the aim is to reveal the top polluters. And after, once working on the brand audit 2020 just passed, we just focus in and dive in. So to understand really what is it. And with the data we collected and the data we to and share this with the which the mayor we had we had 2 meetings, and the first meeting were with the administration which support us and on this way, and invited some corporate to this meeting and share our data to them
Noel, we seem to have lost you. I think there was a problem. He's completely logged out. So that sometimes happens, that we have issues with connections from from the mere fact that we are connecting from all around the world from very different circumstances. So hopefully he will be able to log in soon again and continue telling. Oh, Noel, I can see you here. Where is Noel? I'll just very quick. Noel, do you think you can turn on your
Yeah.
Yes.
For my connection.
No
For my
problem.
connection. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
So
Please continue.
Okay, so I was saying that with the data collected, whoa, that's a noise with the play. Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Now we can perfectly.
Okay. So just with the data we collected, we went to the municipality and showed this. We had 2 meetings, and the first meeting with the administration and the mayor. And at the second meeting, we had some corporate with data were report during Brand Audit 2020. So we discussed and find a way to bring more these corporate on board and in front during cleanup, because we just find something. We are always learning with Brand Audit, because it's not just revealing top polluters, but it is a way to bring them in the front to realize to live the reality, because it's not how to explain this. When we just sent the data to them, it's like they couldn't realize it. But once they are in front, or we invite them during cleanup, they can realize what concretely their package, or how their package can damage, or what their package are doing concretely, or as consequences of climate change. So now we have many corporates, and now we still invite them with the support of our municipalities. We think that we can have more corporates to really bring them stop produce more single-use plastic, because all of them are more producing sachet, water, food packaging. So we want to stop this. Is our object or our goals this year.
Thank you very, very much, Noel. And I think
I can.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I so sorry to interrupt you, Ingrid. I just wanted to say, Noel, it's such an honor to finally meet you. We've been exchanging emails for a long time, and what Noel has done in Togo is really, really incredible, because they have been basically bringing forth the concept of extended producer responsibility to the local government in Togo.
Really, I forgot.
Yes, this is a big deal.
I forgot.
You're
I'm
doing
sorry.
great work.
Yes, I forgot this, because we are working about this, implement the deposit refunding system. One of the corporate is they are producing plastic bottle, and they are producing water and plastic bottle. So we want to bring them adopt this system of deposits refunded.
All right. So let me just see very quickly if there are any questions. Thank you very much, Noel. In the meantime, we have another. Yes.
Thank you, Sibyl, and thank you, Ingrid, for this opportunity. And I hope that the next year I will have more how can I explain it? I will give more answer. I don't know. I forget the word, but and sorry for my poor English.
No problem. You're doing great work in
Okay.
Coco, Noel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience. I'm looking forward through this list of, we have some more people here. Maria from Brazil, but I do not see if she has managed to connect. And then maybe, if I'm not mistaken, did Kate Opoku, were you supposed to share your best practice as well with us today? Kate, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, Kate. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Yeah, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to also share my experience. So let's do it, Ghana. We joined the Brand Audit in 2018. And as at that time, we did a community cleanup. So that was our first time in engaging in brand audits. That was 2018. So in 2019 World Cleanup Day, we had a beach cleanup, which we also did a brand audit. But this time around, we were able to engage a lot of volunteers to participate in the brand audit so they understand what it is. And that was the first time we spoke about brand audits to the media. So during last year World Cleanup Day, the media was very interested in our World Cleanup Day because of the brand audits, because the brand audits also made our cleanup unique. There was a lot of cleanups happening in every day. Everyone is doing cleanup, but they wanted to know what made our cleanup to stand out. So that was one selling point for our cleanup, for the World Cleanup Day. We used the brand audit to sell our cleanup. So we had a lot of media coming to give us coverage for the World Cleanup Day. Now, after we were done with the brand audit, we shared the reports we had with some organizations, because when they heard about it in the news, they sent me an email requesting for my reports. So I also shared what we did. And because of the reports I shared, I remember our organization received an invitation to come and speak on the ban of plastic in Ghana, just because of what we did. So we were able to use that platform to advocate for brand audit, that NGOs and civil societies who undertake cleanup should do brand audits, because brand audits will help us to gather data. And we don't have data on waste in Ghana. And therefore, if we engage in more brand audits, we're able to collect more data, and then we can advocate more for the ban of plastic. Because if you want to engage government on the ban, what are you going to negotiate on? You need the data to prove to government you know what you are talking about and the demands you are making from government. And also, if we engage the producers of these plastics, and you tell them, we see your plastic in the environment. Yes, you see everyone, but who are you holding accountable? But if you're able to prove to them that this is the data we have on your plastic at this location, then they know, yes, you know what you're talking about. And therefore, so I was very excited last year that through the brand audit we started, the Ghanaian community is now understanding. And people, we have organizations who are right now interested in our brand audits. So therefore, they've written to us that this year they are going to participate in our cleanup because of the brand audits, because they want us to use it to advocate for the ban of plastic, because that is one of the talk in the country now, that are we ready to ban plastics? And therefore, we have also advocated that brand audits or gathering data is a tool to help us in deciding what type of plastic do we ban. So we need all this information. So I feel if we engage in brand audits, it's also going to help us to gather data on our plastics in our various countries and help us in our advocacy. So this has been my little experience.
Thank you very much, Kate. You know, when something makes people this passionate, it must be a good thing.
Thank you.
Yes, your energy
So-
is contagious.
Yes, it is.
Great work.
Absolutely, it is. And just like Sybil said before, in order to do a brand audit, you don't need to have a big team. You don't need to collect a lot of trash. You can do it with very small amounts as well. Every little bit helps, especially if that data comes in from all around the world from different spots. So we have about 10 minutes left. So if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands so that you can ask them out to Sybil directly. Or I have a few questions that have come in as well during the session. So first question is from Amira from Mauritius. Could you please repeat the steps of the brand audit? What are the necessary steps, please?
Yes, sure. Happy to. So the 4 steps is number 1, to collect the waste. So you're all experts at this. This is the cleanup. The second step is to sort the plastics. So either you want to segregate all the plastics from the beginning or pull out the plastics from your waste pile. And then you want to, according to the steps in our toolkit, so you'll have to review, sort it into the different types of waste. So plastic bottles in one pile, plastic bags in one pile, plastic cutlery, cigarette butts. You put it into different piles and you separate it into, according to types of waste. And then into smaller subcategories into the brands. So essentially clean up, separate the plastics into the different piles. The step 3 is to record your data. So because collecting trash is very messy and you have garbage juice and dirt and everything, we really recommend you print out the data cards and do it by hand so that you're not putting at risk your nice computer or phone. This is our recommendation. And then the final step later is to submit your data digitally. So to repeat, step 1 is to collect the trash. Step 2 is to sort your plastics into the different categories. And number 3, you record your data, so by hand. Steps 1, 2, and 3 happen on the day of your cleanup, so that it happens all the same day, usually. The last step, step 4, is done after you've disposed of your waste and cleaned up and had a rest and said thank you to your team. Then you go home and you sit at your computer and you submit the data digitally. So step 4 can happen the next day if you need to. Yes.
Thank you. That was really quickly gone over. Now we have a question from Mida. Mida, please turn on your microphone and ask your question.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much. My name is Mida from Nigeria. So I would like to know, I'd like to ask, this has not happened in Nigeria. I don't know if this has happened in Nigeria. So if would like to get this happen here, Nigeria, how would we get on board to collaborate? That's my first question. And then the second question is the categories of waste. Are we doing the brand audit only for plastics or for other materials like papers and other type of waste? Because plastics are, yes, actually they are the dominant categories of waste, but we have papers, we have metal, we have cans, and all the likes. So I lead the Cleaner Healthier Nigeria Initiative team, and recently we did a program for like 6 locations. If we had known, if we had had about this, it would have been a very, very good thing because we had so many volunteers and so many people join us for that program. But I would just like to know this so that we can know how to bring this on board to Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the 2 questions I heard there are how to connect with others in Nigeria, and then what do we do with non-plastic waste? Let me know if I missed anything. So for the first one, this is an answer for you and everyone else in this webinar. If you want to get connected with others in your country, please write in the chat your name, your email, and your country, and I will connect you over email after this call. That's what I propose, because we definitely have a lot of organizers in Nigeria. You'll see on the Brand Audit event map, so many events are happening in Nigeria. So that's the other way you can see yourself. Go on our Brand Audit Toolkit page and you'll see on the map, zoom into Nigeria, and you'll see all of the registered events and then the contact information of the organizer. So that's another way you can get in touch. So, okay, great. I see. If you're sharing, okay, yeah. So share your name, email, and country, and I can also help out with that. For your second question, we are only looking at plastics. So you are welcome separately to record data on other materials if that's helpful for you. But for Break Free from Plastic purposes, we're really only focusing on plastics. This is what our topic is. So less work recording for you, because we're only interested in plastics. You're welcome to record other things if you want, but for us, we only want plastic. And because there are many waste materials that are a combination of plastic and aluminum and paper, for our purposes, we define plastic as it needs to be at least 50% plastic in the total. So if you think an aluminum can, like a soda can, it's primarily aluminum, but there's a thin layer of plastic inside the can. We don't count this because it's majority aluminum. Okay. So I hope that clarifies a little bit. We only want plastic data. Thank you.
If you're really keen on collecting that data, though, then we do have a report forums where you can segregate the waste according to different categories, including aluminium and glass. And this file can be used in order to make a point locally as well. For World Cleanup Day, we generally collect data only on how much waste was collected, but this form will help you compile your own report, which comes very handy when you are working together with local government or are trying to initiate collaboration with that. So I'm seeing that there's a lot of interest in getting connected in the chat section. Thank you very much. So if you want to get in touch with brand auditors in your country, please leave your name, email, and country to this chat section so that later after this session, Sybil can hook you up with all those wonderful people in your country who are already doing brand audits. There's a question from Mita. Are there rewards or support for organizations for this cleanup project and brand audit? Sybil, that's a question to you.
Yeah, sure. So I'm happy to, upon request, make certificates of appreciation for your team and your volunteers. So if that's something that you'd like to receive, you can submit a request and let me know the name of your group and or the name of your volunteers, and that's something that I can make for you. In terms of financial support, we did have microfunds available, but the deadline was a week ago, and so it's too late for that, unfortunately. But we have all of the resources shared in the presentation and certificates of appreciation. So that's what we can offer at this time.
Well, for 2021, it might be over, but this allows you to maybe do a test brand audit this year in a smaller group, and then next year be really ready to apply for the microphone with already experience under your belt. So we have only 1 more minute left, and I'm just going to go over all of the there's another question that came in a little earlier. Can brand audits be also done from January to July? And what would be the local benefits of doing brand audits?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. So you are absolutely welcome to do brand audits anytime throughout the year. You'll see that that's an announcement that pops up when you go to the toolkit page. However, It's just a matter of when we can start really promoting it and encouraging it. We start it in the early summer because Break Free from Plastic has many other campaigns. So this is kind of when we have a space to really focus on spreading the word, but you're most welcome to do brand audit anytime throughout the year. If you want your data to be part of the annual reports, then you need to make sure you submit it by September 20th. And this is just because of when we publish our annual report later in the fall. But if you want to do a separate, brand audit project of your own, you have all the tools available to you, and you're welcome to do it at any time. I know in different parts of the world, the seasons are quite different. So you can take it and make it your own. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And the second half of the question was, what would be some examples of local benefits from brand audits? You have a lot of experience globally with this, so.
Yes, the best place to turn, especially since we're really at the end of our time now, is to look at that brand audit campaign guide, because it's full of case studies. It's full of them. So you'll see a number of different case studies, from school groups to international NGOs to country bands to all sorts of things. So the best place would be to go to, here, I can share the link just for this is the library page. Here, I'll share the English language one. Here's our campaign guide, where you'll find really, really cool case studies and different examples that can give you some ideas.
Okay, great. And last question. All right. Is there a conference on plastic waste management organized by Break Free from Plastic this year in Germany?
Very specific. Not that I'm aware of. I'm certainly not involved in that. So I would say maybe explore our website, or I don't know. I'm not involved in that though. But I will can I just show one thing in closing, actually? So hang on. Okay, so let me just show you. I will connect you over email to those who have requested it, but I also want to show you how you can find it yourself, so you know how to navigate this really cool part of our website. So this is on the Brand Audit Toolkit website, yeah? Here are the events, and you can, if you see here, you can zoom in. So I heard there were questions about finding others in Nigeria, for example, right? So you can see we have so many, so many. And then what you do is you click on the little dots. Oh, this is from last year, but you'll see, the details, and you'll see the contact email. Or for example, we had some questions about finding them in Indonesia. So yeah, you can click here. Oh, why is it not showing? Okay, well, that's strange. Anyway, it should be showing you new events, and you can see the email address. But anyway, yeah, that's where you can find it. But I'll send some email introductions to you all.
Mm-hmm. And I have, Noel, do you still have a question for Sybil? Because your hand is up.
Not really a question, but it's just a suggestion. I wish everyone can post a screenshot of a story of plastic to more engage raise awareness, sensitize their volunteers about plastic pollution. Because I think I found something with this documentary. It's really interesting. It's really interesting.
I think that is a great recommendation to end our webinar today with. Do take a look and share the video from Break Free from Plastic that tells the story of plastics. And if you have any more questions, then feel free to get in touch with Sybil. Hopefully she'll leave her email address in the chat section. And yep, that's in the chat, Sybil's email address, sybil@breakfreefromplastic.org. And if you have any questions about this webinar or upcoming webinars by Let's Do It World, then feel free to get in touch with me as well. I am also leaving my email here. And you can also find our contacts from www.worldcleanupday.org website. So thank you very much, everyone who has joined us today. The recording of this session will be made available for you soon, and hope to see you all conducting brand audits, coming out a World Cleanup Day to clean up the world, because it's high time we do that. So thank you very much, guys, for being here today.
Thanks, everyone. Stay in touch.